Hey guys, behind me you're going to see the Silent 62. Now I just did a tour with Philip Bell, the factory rep for the US on this particular vessel. It is really incredible. We're going to jump in and show you some details. If you want the specs, you can find those by going to yachtspecsdirect.com. Again, Silent 62 tri-deck and specifications at yachtspecsdirect.com.
Come down to the boat shows, get on the boats. We've got some going over to the States now. The new 3 decks are here. So we'll look forward to getting you on board and get you familiar with the tech.
So a few things that stand out to me about this yacht is it says it's a Sunrise Dream, it's solar powered. So can you just give a little background on Silent and the iterations? Because this looks totally different than what I was seeing 2 years ago.
Sure. So this is the first 3 deck, this is the open version. It's a huge flybridge, all of the solar panels, other than a couple that are on coach roof, but most of them are up on the top of the flybridge. So it allows us to get a lot of shades, perfect for the tropics, and gives the unobstructed view of the sun from the solar panels, so it's much more efficient. You play between the efficiencies and the luxuries. We're significantly lighter than other solar electric boats that are out there, which means that we can be out and unreliant on any type of fossil fuels for longer.
Okay, so you're really walking the talk here. It's not just battery technology and a marketing gimmick. This is sustainable materials, sustainable lightweight construction, and real solid ability with the battery and solar systems.
Yeah, exactly. It's like comparing a auto company that predominantly builds regular gas-powered cars, but also has their foot into the electric market versus a company like Tesla or Rivian that just purely build electric cars. And so those cars are built from the ground up, just focused on efficiencies and range and viability. It's the same with us. This solar electric boats is all that we do. Everything is purely focused on making the boat work as efficiently as possible.
So you're not really greenwashing it, it's all
exactly.
It's all legit.
And it's working. So we have boats that are out there. We have clients on board that are living these boats. So they're full-time liveaboards. They go between Bahamas, Caribbean, New England, and they're using the boats for the way that they're supposed to be used. Efficiently managing house loads. If you had an off-the-grid house, you'd be looking at where you're using that energy as often as possible. So that's how these boats get the most out of them, are by those owners that are energy conscious.
Cool. All right, let's step on board and maybe you can point out some of the features, starting with the aft platform here.
So just looking at the boat, it looks similar to most of the other catamarans that are out there. We try to extend the platform so that the boat at anchor at an island is as client friendly as possible. So there's tons of outside spaces. There's nothing just looking at the boat that you are obviously giving up by having solar electric. We give you the same as what a regular boat would give you.
Yeah, some of the features like the LED lighting and the accents, and like, it's just beautiful. It's funny, I walked by it the other day, I was like, wow.
Yeah, we're gonna make it eye-catching for you. So it's got a bit of a tech side to it, edgy design, futuristic design, which people like. And the same with the interior. It feels like more of a modern, but it doesn't feel like a traditional classic interior. It's obviously something different, and that's why we've been so successful.
Cool. If you would, lead us to the main salon and we'll go from there.
So I'll point out while we're back here, see the 2 hatches on the other side of the swim platform. So once this is down and the tender's launched, you get rear access to all of the storage underneath the deck.
Okay.
So this is designed so that you can slide in paddle boards and kayaks, maybe small sailing laser dinghy.
Okay. So all your tenders and toys can conveniently go here.
Yeah, tenders on the back
when you're launching.
and everything else,
Okay.
So,
and then this panel here, what does that access?
on this side, it's storage, toy storage. There's some technical equipment in there, and the same hatch on the other side is where the generator is kept.
Okay, cool. Nice sliding glass windows on the interior here. And what was the overall concept of this area?
Sure. So this is a forward exit version. There's the door at the front.
Okay.
It means that when the boat's at anchor, you don't have to run air conditioning for it to be comfortable in here. You're at anchor, there will be some air movement. So with the front door open, everything open at the back, you've got free flow of air coming through the salon. So again, for that energy efficiency to make the boat run more sustainably, you can switch off the air conditioning up in the salon here.
Okay.
And have it still be comfortable.
Yeah. Excellent. But yeah, this feels really good to me, and I think that the space is used beautifully, and the finishing has improved a whole lot. And I like how you mentioned the air conditioning. Now, on this boat, obviously, when you don't need it on a cooler day, like today, you get the beautiful breeze through, but this does have capability to have air conditioning overnight in fully silent mode, correct?
Yeah, it's a fully air-conditioned traditional chiller system.
Okay.
So each room has its own temperature control. You can ramp it up, ramp it down. It's reverse cycle, so you can heat if you want, if you're in colder climates. Salon has 2 controls up here, it's 2 units, so everything can be chilled down into the 60s.
Okay.
If you want to, as far as Fahrenheit go. The 2 largest consumers of energy on board the boat is the propulsion and the air conditioning.
Yep.
With the air conditioning running and everything else on board, as far as the house loads, you're looking anywhere from 8 to 10 kilowatts as far as consumption.
Yep.
Without the air conditioning, you're down to about 2 kilowatts.
Okay. Yeah, and we were looking at the consumption curves, and the boat has about, was it 12 kW?
So maximum rated output of all of the panels is just a little under 17 kilowatts.
Okay.
But practically what you can expect as far as maximum output is about 12 kilowatts. We have seen 13 kilowatts on the boat. If all the solar panels are clean and it's midday, the sun's at noon and there are no clouds, then you can quite happily reach that 13 kilowatt range.
Okay. Yeah, that's important because a lot of people think just because you have the panels, they're going to push that much out, but you guys are realistic
so you'll
about
never
it.
get 100% out of every single panel.
Yeah.
So out of the 16 kilowatts, you can't really expect much more than, on the best of circumstances, not much more than that sort of 13 kilowatt range.
Okay. Speaking of the power management, can you explain what we're looking at here and how this system works?
Yeah, it's the center screen here is the power management screen. So this will tell you how much is in the high voltage system, how much is in the low voltage system, what the production is from the solar panels, what's being used. If the generator is integrated, it will do it automatically, bring it online, ramp it up, rate it to whatever either presets you have or what the system determines isn't required. And it will bring it online and start charging the system. So all of that's controlled from here, and you can go in and see an overview of what's being used. If you have shore power connected, if you're at the dock and you want to connect shore power, then you can manage that and monitor it from here as well.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, that's really cool. And then you mentioned that this boat has a battery bank that's accessible right here from the salon if it ever needs to be serviced, correct?
Yeah, so this is one of the panels that we can lift up and see the battery system.
Okay.
Each battery is monitored individually, so if there are any overheat, overpower, over temperature, anything like that, as far as a fail-safe, the system will identify and isolate that one battery. These are glycol cooled. Each battery has its own flow of glycol running through it.
Okay.
Cool. And they're LFP batteries, so they're the highest safety rating.
What is LFP?
So it's phosphate. It's lithium ion phosphate.
Okay. So battery technology got a little bit of a bad rap with some lithium type batteries that were catching fire in conditions that weren't ideal. So these are safer and cooler, is that correct?
Yes. So the phosphate is the next generation from that. Again, naturally from us focusing purely on electric powered boats, this is all we do, is install electrical systems. Some of the issues that have happened on other boats is where those systems have been installed either aftermarket or they've been installed incorrectly, don't have the monitoring on them. So it's the same with any technology. If it's incorrectly installed and not monitored and not run correctly, then you can potentially run into issues.
Okay.
But having the system installed safely, monitored safely, and run correctly, which the system will only allow you to run the equipment safely, then there are no problems.
Okay. And another feature that we were talking about is, obviously you can go full silent mode with this. If you're doing extended cruising, you can actually cruise on electric for about 2 hours. It's basically a 2-to-1 if you're like fully going is what we're talking about.
So
correct?
it's speed dependent, yes. So
Okay.
if you're going faster, then you need to integrate the generator more. If you're going to get a comfortable cruise speed of 6 knots, for example, then the boat will do 6 or 7 hours at that speed.
Okay.
The batteries can safely be depleted down to 10% without doing any harm to the batteries.
Okay.
But most of the time, in order to keep a safety reserve or a backup reserve in the batteries, then you'll only run the batteries down to 40 or 50%. The potential of picking up dirty fuel in the generator,
You want to have a
has
safety
an issue,
margin.
You want to
normally,
have
yeah.
that backup plan.
Okay. So it sounds like it's really dependent on the mission. If you know that you're just doing island hopping and you have a fixed distance to go,
Yeah.
you can just keep an eye on that power consumption and be fully
Yeah.
solar
Yeah,
powered.
when you're on the boat and using it on a week-long trip, for example, most of the daily trips that you do won't be over 30 or 40 miles. And in that scenario, the boat is almost completely sustainable, assuming that you've got good sunlight during the day, but it's almost sustainable without having to integrate the generator.
Okay.
You will likely have to run it over a 3-day period with doing that sort of 20, 30 miles per day and managing the air conditioning. Maybe you'll have to run the generator for an hour or 2 every 3rd day.
Amazing.
To keep up with the load. So yeah, it's industry changing. There are no other options out there to be completely silent on the.
Yeah, no, I love it. I'm going to lead them down here to look at the guest cabins, and I'll have you follow me. I'm going to have a few questions here. Now, what stood out to me is all the creature comforts here.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we got the washer dryer system. And then looking at this, you've really upgraded the luxury that the owner or charterer gets in the silent yacht.
Yeah, so this is the 5-stateroom version,
Okay.
which we would call a charter version. A lot of owners have gone for a 4-stateroom version because they're looking at live aboard.
Yeah.
So in the 4-stateroom version, you basically get a larger master cabin. On the 5-stateroom version, the master cabin's cut in half and they add a 5th cabin where the suite would typically be.
Gotcha.
So whereas this cabin on a 4-stateroom version, this is a VIP. On the 5-stateroom version, this is the master.
Okay. Yeah, to be honest, when I walked on board and I saw the full stand-up glass shower there, I just thought it was beautiful. And from a charterability standpoint, this actually could be its own profit center because there's such high demand for these silent yachts and people that just want to experience what it's like and learn about this. We were also talking that if someone were to purchase this vessel and put it into a charter program, that's something that we could work with Silent to promote, to just get people to experience the technology. Is that right?
Yeah, so we need boats to put our clients on board. So clients that are interested in buying, that want to charter something for a week in order to help them make a buying decision. At the moment, we really don't have any options.
Okay.
What's happened is the boats that we're delivering have gone to clients that are considering chartering, and then they get on board the boat, they fall in love with it, and then it's
So
it's no
worst case
longer
scenario,
available.
you could buy it for charter or you'd fall in love with it one way or the other.
Yeah. Win-win.
Okay, very cool. I'm gonna spin through here and we'll look at this other cabin. So this is the port side aft. And in this setup, we've got 2 singles. We've got a nice hanging locker and wardrobe area. And then again, this beautiful glass shower. So really cool. We wanted to jump into the cabins before we went too long because there's just a lot to talk about. So that gives people an idea of the cabins, and we will hit the other 2 cabins shortly. But we're gonna go up front because I think you had mentioned something about a Kite.
Sure.
Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. So this boat was installed with the structure that's required for the Kite.
Okay.
So when a Kite package is ordered, there are 2 aspects to it. One is the structure that's required to be laminated into the hull to take the and the strains, and the other is the actual Kite equipment itself. So the Kite equipment isn't our
it's a third-party technology.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's quite complicated and involved to develop that stuff. So we want to focus on building and delivering yachts.
Sure.
So this has the structure installed so that at the point where the next generation of kites become available, it can just be put straight in.
That's really cool.
With the first gen kite system, we did a test on a standard 60, so it's not the 3-deck version, it's the 2-deck version.
Yeah.
We were out in about 18 knots of wind. The kite is a 9-meter kite, so it's quite a small kite.
9 square meters.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, it's essentially a kiteboarding kite, so it has an inflatable bladder on it, and then you launch it from the deck.
Okay.
So as far as speeds, just with the kite, they were getting 5.8 knots of speed in the boat.
Yeah.
They found that they were struggling to keep good steerage with the boat. So what worked out best was to put 200 RPM on each motor, which is 1 kilowatt per side. And that was giving them an extra 1 to 1.2 knots. But it was putting enough flow over the rudders that they had good steerage. So the ideal situation that they came up with was with the kite, 5.8 with the electric motors, 1.2. So for basically 2 kilowatts worth of energy, they were getting almost 7 knots.
Okay. So what I'm fascinated by is with the kite technology, you guys have reinforced everything. It's ready for the kite. Mm-hmm. It's ballpark $30,000-$40,000?
Yeah, it's about 30. At the moment, it's about 35,000.
Okay. So this particular boat is ready for the next generation kite technology. Correct. So you theoretically could do an Atlantic crossing with the kite.
Yeah.
And then you would have enough solar that it would be able to power itself for the low RPMs and the AC and whatever was needed. So potentially this boat could do an Atlantic crossing just sailing on a kite, even though it's an electric motor power catamaran. Right. That is fascinating.
Yeah, so you would have to take sort of the trade winds route south. So with the kite, you've got about a 45-degree angle on the wind.
Yep.
You don't have as much of a degree that you do with a masted sailboat.
Okay.
But yeah, going south, going from east to west, doing a transatlantic.
Okay. So can you explain the crew situation here?
Yeah, so we've got a crew cabin. So this boat is 5 ensuite guest staterooms plus an ensuite crew cabin.
Okay. So that's fully kitted out with the bathroom and
correct.
And the head and everything.
It's a wet head, so you enter into essentially the shower, and then through the door there is a double bed.
Okay, perfect.
So a couple would be comfortable if you were chartering the boat and required 2. If it's for private use, then just the captain is fine.
Okay, excellent.
And a lot of the owners are owner-operators and run the boat with no crew.
I love it. Let's head up to the flybridge area, because you mentioned this was a tri-deck.
Correct.
And again, one of the things that stood out to me when I arrived at the show was just how beautiful this yacht is and has become. Even as we're walking here, I'm seeing the nice curving here on the overhead and a lot of neat features.
Yeah, and the little seating area on the side there.
That is cool. I totally missed that.
Yeah.
All right, nice. So we've got integrated seating here on the side. So as you're silently cruising along, you can watch the world go by.
Everybody seems to end up there reading a book.
Yeah. It's nice to have little entertainment areas like that. Okay, so it's huge.
Enormous, yeah. Yeah, it's absolutely huge. When you compare it to some of the other manufacturers that are out there, that's by far the largest flybridge in this size range. It has a 60-foot cat, and it has a flybridge the same as a 80, 90-foot monohull.
Yeah. So we're actually feeling like we're on a super yacht here. We've got the wet bar set up.
Although when this boat was ordered, they didn't order a barbecue grill, but you can have a canyon with a stainless hood here. Got a lot of ventilation to get rid of the smoke.
Okay.
Refrigerator, ice maker.
Okay, and then we have our second helm. What have you seen? Do people normally drive from the lower helm or the upper helm?
It's 50-50, had location dependent. So when they did a quick owner's trip in Croatia, and most of the time was spent up here, outside.
Okay.
When the boat left the shipyard, they went through some pretty significant storms to get here for the show.
Yeah.
Obviously then they were battening down the hatches and driving from the safety of inside.
Okay. And then you all just had a media event on the boat, is that correct?
Yeah, we actually had almost 50 people on this deck.
During your cruise?
Sure, yeah.
That is amazing.
And there was still plenty of time, plenty of space to move around. It didn't feel particularly cramped or overcrowded.
I like it. So very cool. This area here, it does feel like the size of a super yacht and gives you a lot of flexibility for cruising and entertaining. I normally drive from the upper helm whenever I'm driving. And the other nice thing about this is if you do have a party or entertainment going on and it's owner operator, either way, if it's owner operator, the owner can be up here enjoying the party and the cruise with everyone else. Or if you have a crew and the crew wants to drive from down below so they can be in their privacy, they can do that.
It also has the dock control system, so dockmate.
Does it have bow thrusters on it?
Bow thrusters, stern thrusters, the thrusters are here. And then on the dockmate system, you have the joystick control.
Okay, so in
really,
that
really
dockmate
easy.
right there?
No, so this is the remote control for the autopilot.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
if you're at the front of the boat,
you can be driving.
You can be monitoring the heading course.
Excellent. So here we see the forward solar panels. Can you talk about these a little bit?
Yeah, so we, unlike some of the other manufacturers, we go with one standard panel.
Okay.
So these are Maxion panels, so they're highest efficiency and highest output that is a commercially viable and commercially available solar panel. So you can buy these anywhere. They're kept on with 4 bolts. There's one electrical connection. If anything happens with one of the panels, they get cracked for whatever reason, something falls on it, then you can pull out one panel and have it replaced within an hour.
Yeah, that's really nice. So it does have an industrial look to it, but it's extremely practical. And it's not like these are encased in fiberglass and
yeah, exactly. Once you start
like
overcomplicating it, it becomes very difficult to maintain. Of course, the other thing is all of these panels are facing up.
Where the sun is?
They're always going to have the most efficiency. Obviously, you're on a boat, the boat's always moving, so you can't tilt the panels to look at the sun because you never know which position the boat's going to be in. Unlike on a house, can set the angle.
Sure.
So
and
then
so
all
up here,
same thing. This covered in panels. So there are 42 panels in total. On this boat.
What I love is, like we started talking about, is this is really designed as solar and efficiency and silence
from
first,
the ground up. Yeah.
And then the other things are around it, but the luxury level has definitely increased. Definitely increased.
And it's difficult to play that thin line of being efficient, but also making sure that you don't sacrifice anything. And what we've ended up here is you're really not sacrificing anything. In fact, you're gaining a significant amount of luxury and space compared with a regular.
And it's interesting, I was over at even Azimuth the other day, looking at their C-Deck hybrid propulsion technology and more of a motor yacht, and everyone is really going in this direction. And I point out the deck and sustainable materials here.
Yeah.
So not only are we talking about hybrid and electric power, but also sustainable materials. So we're not deforesting.
And it's light.
Lightweight, efficiency, sustainability.
Yeah.
Cool. So we have a couple more cabins to visit. So I'm going to head on down and we'll take a quick look at those.
See there, as you're on your way down the stairs, look at the sunbeds at the back.
Yeah.
So they are in the sun. So whether you're on the bow or at the back here, you've still got somewhere to get your tan.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So I'm gonna head down. Oh, I wanted to also point out on the solar load, you've got a full-size refrigerator and galley and everything.
Fairly negligible as far as consumption.
Okay.
So it's a typical residential fridge freezer. You have ice and water, chilled water through the door. We have pot equipment, Siemens oven.
Are those induction cooktops?
It's induction, yeah.
Okay. More efficiency there with it's not slow to heat up. You're just really getting the energy that you need to do your food prep.
Dishwasher.
Wow, that's great.
And you have additional fridge freezers here. So these can be set where they're either both freezers, both fridges, or split them one or the other.
Okay.
there's 4 2 drawers at the top and 2 drawers
Perfect.
below. And these can, when you're commissioning a new build, you have all 3 be there, or you can have them all just regular storage.
Yeah, I love it. And that way you can even use what you need, turn them off, and save extra energy.
So the idea was for this to be a great charter platform.
Yeah.
So that's one of the issues when you're chartering is the
Provisioning.
food storage. And
Perfect. Okay. I'm going to head down here now. So we are starboard side aft. And so we've got a nice double cabin here and ensuite. And again, this very nice hardware with the infinity rain shower, beautiful view out, and everything you need.
Great windows when you're out and on the water, so you've got a great view of the horizon.
Yeah. No, this would be very enjoyable. And I do like how not all the cabins are the same. Like over on the port side, those feel like more like owners and adults cabins. These perfect for adult couples as well.
Yeah.
But there's a little more luxury on the port. And then we have 3 of them here on the starboard side. Cool. Let's keep cruising. Nice leather wrap here on the hanging lockers.
Down on this side, which, as I was saying earlier on a full cabin version, this whole side would be the master.
Okay.
Whereas they've added that cabin that you're in now, which is technically the 5th cabin.
Okay, so this is basically a bonus cabin here.
Correct.
Perfect. Yeah, I like it this way. Even if you were to have, say, an owner, I mean, you could just make that into a desk or whatever area and then convert it back.
But for a 60-foot boat to have 5 ensuite
Plus crew.
guest cabins plus separate crew accommodation is unheard of.
Yeah, no, and then this is very nicely finished out here. So I would say either private use or charter. This is very nicely set up. And as I'm thinking about it, like the sustainability that you get with the battery power and everything else is great. So basically you could do a fully, all-inclusive. There's this terminology in charter called APA, Advanced Provisioning Allowance, where people basically, they've got to put 20 or 30% of the charter value down just because there's so much variable with fuel.
Yeah, exactly. So you never really know exactly what the final costs are going to be with a boat.
This eliminates that.
So it really does. So it opens you up to a new chart division where
it's its own segment.
You're capturing those people who are uncomfortable handing over 20 or 30% of the charter fee on an unknown. You never really know how much is going to be used and how much you're going to get back.
Yeah.
Whereas something like this, you know what you're spending, paying everything up front, and it's a bit more comfortable.
I think this is definitely a very good option. And then, like we were saying before, for a owner that is business focused, this could be a really nice equation. It could be a win with Silent actually needing boats to be in charter. Yeah. Do you mind opening this hanging locker for me here? Sure. And I do want to point out these doors are nice and thick and solid on your main doors there. Perfect. So plenty of room in the hanging locker. And then again, the reason I wanted them to see this door moving here because it is much more robust and rugged.
Yeah. So
a very nice vessel.
We're called Silent Yacht, so we need it to be silent. So the insulating things, making sure that the cabins are as quiet as possible.
Okay.
Really
Yeah, it's interesting. Even like noise and vibration standards and other things like that can wear and tear either on guests or on crew. By addressing all of that, you're actually making a safer and healthier environment to live in.
So one of the things they do on the production side is they insulate a lot of the hull in the construction. Predominantly that's because they want to make it efficient for air conditioning.
Yep.
So they don't want any of the cooling to seep out. The knock-on effect of that is it's also very efficient when you're heating. So if the boat's in cold climates, it retains that heat. And then also makes it very quiet because you've got solid insulation on the inside of the hull.
Excellent. So I'm sure I will have more questions and we're going to have some contact info and ability to get specifications, spec sheets and other things like that. And thank you so much for taking the time today. I really appreciate it. No problem. And I know that whoever ends up with this vessel or any of the Silent Yachts in this series are going to be very happy, regardless of their mission, either private or charter.
Yeah, absolutely. The brochure that we have at the moment for the 62 open is in the photography is this actual boat.
Okay.
So the viewers can download that brochure and then take a look at it themselves.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And again, that's a wrap for today. Thank you. On behalf of myself, Tony, and the rest of the team at Minted, thank you so much for checking out the Silent 62. If you're in the market for a boat like this, please feel free to reach out at the info below. And again, we can get you specifications on this yacht and any others by going to yachtspecsdirect.com. Again, that's yachtspecsdirect.com for information and a PDF brochure and additional video on the Silent 62. For additional information, please feel free to email me at ts@mintedyachts.com. Also, feel free to text me at 404-805-9819.